again, Broncos country.
Really excited to chop up some Broncos with you all this week.
Bourbon, Broncos, and no BS.
Favorite time of the week. We're not for the Raiders, Chargers, or Chiefs. So grab your brews in your fantasy league. We got that blue and orange blood that you bleed. The most loyal fans there ever could be. We are that mile high Broncos country.
Orange Weekly, fans, brews, and Broncos news.
What is up, Broncos country, and welcome to another edition of Orange Weekly After Dark. As usual, I'm with you tonight, Jason Dandino, and joining me again tonight is Kevin. I too lost to an 0-3 team this week.
I did.
Dandino.
I did.
So he's in a similar boat here. Start posting your comments. I'm sure there's going to be one that's going to start coming flooding in, which we will definitely talk about. No matter where you're from, thank you for joining us, whether you're from Mexico,
Yeah, buddy.
anywhere else. This is a show from fans for the fans. So we definitely like interacting with you guys as much as possible. So absolutely, by all means, post any questions, topics that you want to talk about, your thoughts about the game. Wisconsin, love it. As we get rolling here. So Kevin, starting with you, like we just mentioned, you probably know what the Broncos are feeling like more than most people because you just lost to an 0-3 team. So where the Broncos headset at this? We have a quick turnaround. We got a Thursday night game. So where do they go from here?
It's tough. You can't focus on it, and it's easier said than done, right? There are going to be changes because of the injuries. We're going to have to find a way to regroup and move on. Because if you spend any amount of time still focused on the loss against the Raiders, look, the Colts are coming to town, and they're going to roll over you too if your head's not in the right space. Look, Derek Wolfe was talking after the game, and I think there might have been some psychology to it when you're talking about a fairly young team, a team that's still learning, a team that's anxious to start proving themselves. And there could have been, maybe not on purpose, but, some thoughts and feelings in the back of people's heads that, hey, we just got to get through this game because Thursday night we got to play. And you're already thinking to Thursday, right? And Derek Wolfe said, hey, that happens, So I don't know the number of things that could have happened, but either way, we're on to Thursday, and this is what you got to focus on. Just this game right here in front of us, nothing else.
Yeah, and we'll get to some of these comments. We'll get to this one. We'll definitely get to Fidel. I see yours. We will get to that here in a minute. Also, yeah, if you haven't seen tonight, there's all over Twitter, Bobby Wagner laying out a fan. Great tackle, great form. And I think there's some concerning thing. And again, there's a lot of, raw emotions coming off this game, obviously, and a lot of people calling for different jobs and benchings and cuts and releases. And a lot of frustration from the previous years, obviously bleeding into this year. And I'll say this with a caveat as we transition into Thursday moving on is, I get what Derek Wolfe is saying. I get what you're saying that, hey, there's a quick turnaround.
It's not an excuse.
However, I think what's terrible about it is this is the Raiders, right? This is a team that's supposed to be your number one rival. You're at their place. This is a huge game. You have a chance to effectively end their season, right? Early on.
Yeah.
And instead, and I'm kind of mentioned, where I'm starting to get concerned a little bit with it is the culture of this team and where's this culture at? You know, you have Hackett saying going into the game, "Oh, this is just another game." Is it though?
Not really.
This is the Raiders, right?
Not really.
You have after the game, and this I get not everyone's on the same page with me here, but it got to me where after the game you have Russell Wilson doing a jersey exchange with Derek Carr and posing for the cameras and all smiles and all that. And hey, that gets to me. It's not just a random team. It's not a team you play once every 4 years. This is your new rival. And I mean, how many times if John Elway lost to the Raiders, did we see him making friends right after the game? How many times were we seeing Peyton Manning smiling after he lost? You know, I mean, and that's where I'm starting to worry about the culture. You know, where's our culture at? Where's the mindset at? Again, there's a lot of growth. There's a lot of change going on with this organization. But to me, that's one of the concerning moments is, hey, you know, winners hate to lose, right? There was a clip of the Bills coach, offensive coordinator, 2 weeks ago when they lost, showing in the booth where he was throwing everything in the coaching booth, and people were starting to make fun of him and overreaction, yada, yada, yada. But Josh Allen had a great quote when they asked him about it, and he said, "Hey, show me someone who's okay with losing, and I'll show you a loser." And I couldn't agree with that quote anymore. And so as we transition, again, it's early in the season, we're 2-2, but those are some red flags for me on where this team's heads at. You know, to me, you can't be okay losing in general, but especially to a division rival in the way that you did. So with that being said, I got you guys are throwing comments already, which is great. We're going to start trying to get to some of them. Let's go with this here. What were your thoughts about our offensive effort this past week?
Look, we came out looking pretty good. We got a first down on the first play. It was about 15-yard pass to Cortland Sutton. The passing game was going. The run game wasn't fantastic, but we stuck with it. We were able to move the ball. We got in scoring position. That helped out special teams for, you know, the punts and stuff like that, which we didn't have to do too often. It just looked like, you know, as the game went on, we lost some steam. And now it's just frustrating when okay, cool. The offense goes out there and starts moving the ball, and you're like, oh, finally, here we go, right? And then it stops, and you're like, what happened? And then it gets going again in the fourth quarter, kind of, sort of. And you're like, why weren't you doing that before, right? And somebody asked, you know, can Russell run before the fourth quarter? Derek right there. Yeah, he can. I don't know why he's not. There's probably a lot of things going on behind the scenes, guys, that we're not aware of, strategies. There's probably, honestly, I would not be surprised if there's talk of, hey, Russ, we want you to sit in the pocket more often than not, maybe to protect yourself from hits and injuries, or this is the way the offensive scheme is going. I don't know, right? But I wouldn't be surprised if there's something there, because it still looks like, Russell's feeling more confident and more comfortable. It still seems like he's fighting his intuition sometimes, you know, like he wants to take off or he wants to move, but then he's like, oh, wait, I got to stay here, you know, and make another read or something. And maybe that's leading to some of these sacks, or, you know, versus, dude, throw it away. So I don't know. I think they did okay. We're seeing more improvement, guys. I did not expect by week 4 for this offense to be rolling. Period. At the end, you know, it sucks, but it's going to be another month or so till I think that we really see it.
Yeah, and I definitely think that Wilson and Hackett still are not on the same page. They're saying the right things in the press conferences and yada yada. They're not on the same page right now, and that comes with some time. And you know, we keep harping on it, but Fidel with another, you know, they didn't play in preseason, and this is the type of issues you start to run into, especially with the new coach, new quarterback, new system, new style. Like if you don't work the kinks out in preseason, then you're starting to work out those kinks during the games that matter. And unfortunately, I think it's cost us a couple games already. So keep posting your comments, guys. We're going to try to get to all of them. If I pass one over, I promise it's not intentional. Just repost it if you really want to talk about it. We're starting to see some comments coming in and quite a few. So I promise we're not skipping on you on purpose. So here's another one. So obviously Melvin Gordon, a big talking point today. A lot of people with this kind of mentality, can we bench Melvin, given the Ronnie Hillman, you know, where he fumbles, where his fumbles declined into the playoffs. Here's the issue. I think it's there it is. Injuries. Hey, in case you didn't hear, which I'm sure you did, Javonte Williams out for the rest of the season, torn ACL and LCL. Super unfortunate. It was a weird mechanism. It was a weird play when it happened. Not your typical ACL tearing mechanism, but it happened. And so he's absolutely out for the rest of the season. And so, hey, we can't bench Gordon. We just signed Latavius Murray from the Saints practice squad. We've got Boone. They're not the answers though, right? And some people are going to say, well, Gordon's not the answer either. Well, he's the most reliable answer at this point, right?
Who else?
He's the only one in our backfield who's been there, done that, has had multiple reps, has had long seasons with a lot of reps. But hey, this is his chance.
Yeah, and look, I'll be honest. After yesterday, I had the same feelings of. I even said it on the post-game podcast. You're going to hear me say something different now, and so look, I've slept on it since then. I've had some time to digest and hear other thoughts and whatnot. Yesterday, I was like, look, obviously Gordon's the guy that we're going to ride with, but I was like, hey, I'm already counting him good for one fumble just because that's what he does. You know what? I thought about it, and it kind of stuck with me when I saw his post-game press conference. If you guys didn't see that, I'd say go watch it. Obviously, the media was just hounding him, and it took a lot of guts for him to even go up there. I will give him mad props for even going up on that podium. But Andrew Mason asked him a question essentially saying, hey, man, this has been something you've been working on very hard for a long time. It's not fumbling the ball. How does it feel when you go out there and that still is a problem? And Gordon essentially broke down crying, walked off the podium. This guy cares, it's more than just a job to him. He knows that this is his probably last chance to really go out there and say, I can do this, guys, So I'm going to ride with him. I'm going to give him my 100% full support. I think he's going to have 0 fumbles. I think he's going to go ham until he proves me otherwise. But I think that this guy is ready to go and step up for the team big time.
Yeah, he's definitely passionate, and he took less money to come back to the Broncos this year, so he obviously wants to play for this team. And yes, he's in a slump right now, and unfortunately, with the sport of football, those slumps, you have a 4-game slump in baseball. Well, that's 2 days, right? You have a 4-game slump in football. That's 4 weeks. And so unfortunately, because of the sample size, you see those slumps seem to be magnified, and he's in one right now. However, that's a great point. Sometimes players step up and play pretty damn good. And I think, and not to make excuses for him, but I'm curious how much getting more touches on the ball helped this problem out too, right? I mean, his first touch was when he fumbled the ball, and it was ages in the game. And I think that what they were trying to do is save him for Thursday. I think that was the plan going into this game, is let's ride Williams for this game and keep Gordon rested for a short turnaround on Thursday.
Is that why you think that even when Boone went out, you still saw Gordon sitting on the side?
I think that was a mixture. I think maybe part of it. I think at that point he was so far in his head too. He wasn't being productive with his carries at that point. But I think some players are just players where they need those reps, right? They need those constant reps to stay sharp. And again, not necessarily saying that's a good thing, but that's just the case sometimes. So I'm curious as he gets more reps, obviously, which he is going to get true running back one reps at this point. Mm-hmm. But hey, I think, again, sports are funny. Sports are weird. Sometimes they give people a shot at redemption, and sometimes they don't take advantage of it. Sometimes they do. And again, just with his passion and how much you could tell he felt he let down his teammates. I think that not just Thursday, I think rest of the season, my prediction is he's going to ball out. I think that he's going to be a true running back for one, and he's going to turn a lot of haters into a lot of lovers by the end of the season. So I'm not saying he's not going to fumble for the rest of the season again, but I do think he's going to get back to, more consistent. He was riding one fumble every 90 or so carries. Mm-hmm. I think somewhere around there, but even, addressing the problem, finding a way that better suits him, carrying the ball. I know Tiki Barber, he had a massive fumbling problem. Coaches addressed it, had him change the way he was carrying the ball, and that drastically reduced his fumbles. So just stuff like that, you're probably going to see as we go on. I'm going to start trying to get to more accounts, guys. Promise we're catching up here. He had another holding penalty. That'll happen. Let's see. A lot of individuality going on, not so much team building since Super Bowl 50. We lost that team element. Too much signaling out on the players and officials. Yeah, and again, I think that's part of that culture, right? Culture problem. And I agree. Fans blaming the officials right now are, hey, let's try to take care of our own crap first, right? Until we can play a full three-way game, right? Offense, defense, special teams. For the full game. There's no blaming officials for a loss, right? No blaming the officials. Eating Victor, thank you for joining us.
Victor.
Here's another thing. Trades, right? So this was wow, we're getting a lot of comments, guys. This is a great run.
Yeah.
I'm trying to catch up.
Everyone, appreciate it.
So trades. My quick thoughts on this before I turn it over to you for your thoughts. We don't have enough draft picks right now to make trades, right? We're pretty draft pick depleted. So
we don't have a first round pick next year either.
Right. So we don't have much leverage for trades.
Look, if this was a Super Bowl or bust year, okay, maybe can we make something happen? Is it worth considering trading Tim Patrick to get another top tier running back? Because otherwise, like this is our one chance of getting to a Super Bowl. Okay, but that's not the case at all. I know as a fan, and I am a super fan just as much as you guys. Look, we run the podcast. Like, we are super fans too. We get it. I want to sit here and say Super Bowl every year, but that's just not going to happen this year, guys. That was never going to happen this year. Best was, get to the playoffs, win a game, maybe two at the very, 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 very top if everything went perfectly, right? Let's get these guys experience. Let's build the team up together. Let's address some of these things like you're saying, Ashton, with bringing the team together. We'll get players back next year. We'll have Tim Patrick back. Hopefully Williams will be healthy enough and be able to go back to his, top form. And then we can start talking about, okay, we're in a very solid Super Bowl window. But I'm sorry, when you have a first-time brand new head coach with a very young coaching staff and a quarterback that's new to the team and a very young team and a fairly new front office, you're not in a Super Bowl year. Sorry. We will get there. We're very close, but so I'm not like world shattered here. It sucks, but
growing pains will still happen.
Growing pains are still happening.
Don't get your hopes up on this. One, he's currently on the practice squad for the Colts. So there's no chance the Colts are going to release him to us the week we play them. But also, I don't know if I would say there's bad blood. I don't want to speak for him or the Broncos, but I just don't see either side wanting to cross that bridge. So
yeah,
as much as a fan favorite he is, I just don't expect to ever see him in a Broncos uniform again. Unfortunately, I personally would love to see it, but I think that bridge has been nuked. So, yeah. So unfortunately, I don't think even if he's available that we will see him. Let's see. Never walk away. Yep, absolutely. Going back to Williams too. If there's one silver lining, if you want to call it that, it's time of the season, right? It happened early enough on where there's a good chance that he could make an appearance at the start of next season. If not, he might miss the very first part of the next season, but he should be by and far, barring any setbacks, should be available for the majority of the season next year, which is good. Sometimes when these players tear their ACLs, late Novembers, Decembers, then basically it rules them out for all that season and the next season. So, I don't want to say fortunately, but again, if there's one somewhat positive that happened early enough this season, that we should expect him to be back for the majority of next season. And that'll be an interesting storyline that plays out on the offseason. What do the Broncos do for that running back position if he's not available for the first few weeks?
And then there's going to be talk about, do we re-sign Gordon based off the injury?
Right.
So this offseason running back the room is going to be very interesting to watch.
And so going back to Gordon, obviously, yes, absolutely. And the thing is, he's going to ride for Broncos country. Again, you saw how passionate he was. He took less money to be with his team. He loves his teammates. He loves Denver. He truly felt like he let them down. And so I think he's going to show up. Absolutely. I think it's okay for Hackett to throw him under the bus. I'm not sure what the quote was.
I didn't hear the quote, to be honest with you.
If you have the quote, Victor, throw out the quote up for us. And we'll definitely discuss it. And we can get more into the details about that. Jimmy G is making the most of his shot. Yeah, I mean, the Broncos made him look silly, but hey, he balled out tonight. So yeah, sometimes these players get a second chance and they make the most of it.
Look, you give Gordon the ball this week. I just expect him to run angry.
Yep.
Run like this and run
High and
angry.
tight.
And
High
if he does that, man, this could be really good for us.
Yep. If you have the answer, let me know. We'll pass it on to the front office because I get your point. Sometimes you have to just let Wilson do what Wilson does, kind of doing a hybrid. But again, to your point earlier, this is still basically preseason, right? We just had you could just say we just finished the preseason work for the starters, right? And so there's going to be some kinks. There's going to be some differences. They're not on the same page. And I think that's how you fix the offense is just, unfortunately, more reps, right? Exactly. More discussion points, more video, more film, and taking advantage. And, again, short turnover this week, so it's going to be tough. But then you have an extra long week because we don't play until the next Monday night, right? So it's not even just Sunday. We have till Monday Night Football. So taking advantage of that basically pseudo bye week, right? And really diving into what's not working, what is working, where can we make those improvements. So right now I think it's just survival, especially with some of the other injuries we're dealing with, which we haven't really talked about yet. Survive Thursday night, I don't think it's going to be a pretty win, but try to get a win, right? Colts are a bit of a struggling team right now. They're clawing their way, just like the Raiders, right? So they're a bit of a desperate team. So find a way to get it done Thursday, and then you take a step back, take a breather, and let's address some of these issues and see what we can work out.
And Fidel, I would say, how do we fix the offense? I think we're in the process of fixing/building the offense. Look, it'd be one thing if this was if Hackett's system had been in place for years and it wasn't working. Okay, how do we fix it? You're seeing them build an offense. And I wouldn't be surprised if you don't see any real major changes until after the bye week. We play the London game, we play the Jets game, we go on the bye week. And that's when you're going to see, I think, the players have time to get their minds right. Coaches have time to implement new things and work with the players. So, again, that's why I keep saying November. I'm saying November for a reason, guys, not just because it's arbitrary, right? But they are in the process of working it, and we're seeing improvement. Let's go back to game 1 and game 2. All the delay of game penalties.
There it is.
All of the rushing to the line and bad communication. That is running really smoothly the last couple of weeks. So it's getting there, guys. Bear with the team.
All right. We're going to get to some of your more comments and questions here. We're going to take a quick little break here. Kevin's going to go on a nice little monologue for you guys. So for that fun monologue.
I would bet that everybody loves my monologues. I'm going to go ahead and say that. Okay.
Lost.
Speaking of betting, the NFL action is in full swing at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. We're talking touchdowns, big plays, and even bigger wins like the Broncos are going to get on Thursday. New customers, which could be you, can bet just $5 on any NFL team to win and get $200 in free bets if they do. Now, guys, check this out. In addition to the usual bets, everyone can boost their winnings with DraftKings stepped up same game parlays. You can look at any of the matches that you like this week. To be honest, just because we're a Broncos show, we're studying the Broncos matchup very closely with Indy. There's a lot of things that you can talk about: the home field advantage, the short week, how important it is for both teams. But the fact that we have Russell Wilson, there's a lot of things that you could really look at this game and say, hey, I think the Broncos really have the upper hand here. Maybe it's worth throwing down a little bit of money and then using that boost here to improve your odds or improve your winnings should that team win. So, hey, to make things even sweeter, you can throw down on stepped up same game parlays once per game day all season long. Now, here's how you get in on this action, guys. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code TPPN to get $200 in free bets if your team wins when you place a $5 bet on any football game. Again, that's promo code TPPN only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details.
I don't generally encourage this, Derek, but because he just lost to an 0-3 team, we'll give him.
Hey!
Give him a win somewhere.
Derek, you're awesome. Good sir.
We need to give him a win. So there we go. All All right, going to resume going through our comments. Fidel, I see all your comments. We're going to get to them, I promise. You've been awesome tonight. Make sure you share our page, and we'll get to all of our content later on how else you can join us throughout the general week. So this is an interesting point too. Yes, Hamler and Albert O. Interesting usage or lack thereof. Hamler, I think, only had 4 snaps, offensive snaps, and Albert O only had 1.
Yeah.
Not sure why. Not sure there's
Saving
something behind the
Thursday.
curtain. Maybe in the doghouse for something else that we're not privy to. I don't know, but I think yes, that's why we have Hamlers to blow off the top, right? It might have been helpful.
Now he did get that one long catch near the end of the game, didn't he?
Yeah,
the bomb down the field.
Yeah, that was Hamler. So
again, that was like the first one this year we've really seen connect and go that distance,
and that's what he's capable of, right? He's capable of spreading that defense, and now that defense has to honor that speed, and they have to back up and give our receivers more cushion. And so, it was interesting not seeing him very often. And again, Albert O was another interesting one. So only see 1 snap, so I'm not sure what was going on with that. As far as Gregory goes, great question. Good news is that is not his ACL. The MRI confirmed his ACL is fully intact, which is awesome. However, he is going to miss a few weeks. He is getting his knee scoped. Sounds like some meniscus related issue. So he's going to be out for at least a few weeks. I would say best case scenario 4.
Really?
Guess, yeah. Right. Might be a bit sooner. But it's going to be a couple games for him for sure. As that knee gets scoped.
And I'd rather have him better the second half of the season, So let's take it easy there. I think we have some now. Who would we bring up? I like the idea of Cooper. He balled out a couple weeks ago. He was inactive this last week, but look, I think he's a good spot there to complement Chubb on the other side.
Totally. And that's where Chubb's going to have to step up too, right? Now he doesn't have that complementary role, so he's probably going to see some more double teams. We'll see how he adjusts to that and fights through that for sure. But overall, good news about Gregory because, again, that initial concern might have been ACL. So we'll take a few weeks instead of a season-ending injury with him as well. It's outside the fumble and Boone drops wasn't a bad performance. The Broncos can benefit from that. There's a lot of learning opportunities with this, right? Not just our offense, our defense didn't have a great game, especially against the run, right? I think Jacobs had almost 150 yards. They had over 200 yards rushing against us. It wasn't a great performance on our defense's part, right? And the other part of that a lot of people are overlooking is we were 3 for 11 on third down conversions. That's less than 30%. You're going to have a hard time winning games with a less than 30% third down conversion rate. And so, again, it wasn't all bad. There were some areas of improvement. But, and again, people saying that the loss was solely because of Melvin Gordon. Well, no. Was it a contributing factor? Yeah, absolutely. It was a fumble 6, right? But at the same time, that wasn't the reason we lost. There's definitely a lot of lessons to go from here. Still a lot of room to improve here. For sure.
Guys, this team is learning every week. I know it's tough to just, you just want to focus on that game and that win or that loss and focus on that. Look back to game 1, go back to some replays of game 1, game 2, see how bad the offense was struggling against the Texans, against the Seahawks. And then look what we did. We held our own against the number 1 defense in the league in the 49ers. Look, it wasn't pretty, but we held our own. We at least got enough points to win. And win's a win. This last week, again, there's improvements there. So it's tough, but if you look at it in a macrocosm, it's going to be, you can see that improvement there.
Absolutely. Yeah. Some seeing 180 all the way, which is encouraging for you. I'm not sure if I'm as sold as you, but I appreciate your optimism. We need a lot of that. So we are making a lot of adjustments, which is good to see. I wish, again, defense would have made a bit more of an adjustment with the run. But overall, we have seen them, throughout the course of the game, make adjustments. And hey, we haven't mentioned this yet, but yeah, what a stud. What a stud. This was maybe his biggest challenge yet and locked it down. Go ahead.
Yeah. And somebody, and not to call you out, Derek, I think earlier on in the show, I saw a comment from you. Too much zone. Oh, here it is. Let's see. Wait, where'd it go? Yep, here you go. Derek says the PS2 wasn't on Adams, it was zone. Too easy to read. Yeah, so agreed. But what you can look at is what Surtain did. He was with Adams 23 out of 35 times, 71%. 8 total targets, which I think I was surprised by how many times they targeted Surtain on Adams. Only allowed 4 receptions, half of those, and 5 of those were tight window targets. So he allowed less receptions than tight window targets. He had an average of 1.3 yards of separation on Adams on all 71% of those coverages. So look, you want to talk about a winner? Holy crap. Hey, who out there is still upset we didn't get Justin Fields?
Especially
I haven't heard anybody say that lately. Is anyone out there?
Yeah.
Did you all go away? Are we all on the PS2 train now? Okay, good.
Yeah.
Because this, if nothing else has yet, this should show you this guy is for real.
Yeah, he absolutely balled out. And that leads to, hey, what? Excuse me. Hey,
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he played the long game. He drafted PS2 over Fields, and so far that's looked like the absolute right decision because Fields has struggled, to say the least, and I don't think it would have been any better at all with the Broncos. And so, meanwhile, yeah, PS2 has balled out for us, especially in the absence of Simmons, right? That was one of the big questions, is how is he going to handle the increased workload? How is he going to handle without that safety net? I think he's answered in full, right? I mean, he's been the best Broncos defender on a week-to-week basis.
Mm-hmm.
And that's saying a lot because our defenses play pretty well overall. I would even say he's probably been the best Broncos player so far this year.
Agreed.
Through a quarter of the season. Here we go. All right.
Yep.
Thanks, Victor. Hackett said, and I quote, appreciate that. In the end, you can't put the ball on the ground. I guess he's being brutally honest.
I would be more upset or see that as him throwing Gordon under the bus if it was we lost because of that fumble. Or if he had said, things were going fine until that fumble. And if that had happened, we would have won. This right here, I think is just a factual statement. He was asked a question about it, whatever the question was. But look, you can't do that. I think that's good coach speak. It sends a message to Gordon, but you're not destroying his confidence at the same time, because this is something I talked about after the game yesterday was from a leadership perspective, Jason, how do you approach someone and say, dude, you really, really, really screwed up. I'm not going to use the phrase drop the ball, but you dropped the ball today, and it killed us. Oh, by the way, we need you to be on your A game Thursday night. We're trusting in you now. How do you send that message of, dude, you got to clean it up, but also we trust you enough to lead us on Thursday night on the run game.
Yeah, and it's like you said, it's kind of those honesty things. At the same time, I think it's kind of on the coaching staff to help Gordon figure out what's going on, right? Because even by his standards, right, 5 fumbles in 5 games is not an average Gordon, right? It's not an average number by any means. And so I think Hackett's right. Yeah, at the end, you can't put the ball on the ground. At the same time, I think it's on this coaching staff to sit down with Gordon and go, what do we need to do? What do we need to change with you? Again, look at Tiki Barber, right? Tom Coughlin came in and said, this is enough. We've had enough of these fumbles. And he was, if you think Gordon was bad at fumbling, Tiki Barber was
way worse.
We're talking once every 20 carries, right? through seasons, right? Once every 20, not just like over a span of a couple of weeks, over the course of multiple seasons, once every 25-ish carries.
Once a game, consistently
right.
on average.
And the coaching staff came in and said, okay, everyone admits this is a problem. How can we help you? And what do we need to change? And that's when you saw him do that weird looking high and tight carry that looked really weird at times, right? But it worked. And so for me, Hackett's not wrong in saying this, but behind the scenes, Hackett needs to figure out that's the job of coaching staff, right? How do you get the best of your players? How do you make the most out of your players? Mm-hmm. You have a player who's clearly in a slump. He's in his head, and you need him, right? You can't just hide him right now. Maybe, you don't have Javonte Williams to carry the workload now. Now you need him. What do we do to fix this problem. So for me, as much as it's on Gordon to execute better, it's on the coaching staff to find out what exactly is going wrong with this and how to make that adjustment improvement. Yeah. Like I said, we signed Murray, Saints practice squad.
50 plus yards on 11 carries and a touchdown last week from the 1 yard line. So, look, a guy that you can put out there that can maybe get you some yards, while Gordon gets a breather. Yeah. And that's all we need right now for this week. It'll be interesting to see what else they do. I would not be surprised if we don't really do anything else, maybe sign somebody else from another practice squad. I won't see any trade or anything though. Again, it's not worth it right now. We don't have a first round pick,
Yeah. And I don't even expect to see Murray this week.
No.
Short turnaround. And again, he's coming from London. So, we might see, I'm blanking on his name, our own practice squad running back. It starts with an O.
Yeah.
Sorry, blanking on that name.
It's so hard to pronounce. I can't remember.
Anyways, we might see our own practice squad running back be activated for this game as Murray fights jet lag and resets and gets into Denver and gets his feet wet and all that stuff. So I wouldn't expect to really see Murray really that much, if at all, this week. But long term, I think it's a good depth signing.
Yeah.
And we'll see what he can provide.
It's got to be Josie Jewell.
Yeah.
He has to find a way. Like, he's been doing well, don't get me wrong, but he has to keep it up. He has to be the leader of that linebacker core. Look, that's a historically weak area for the Broncos. Can't have that. Teams are now going to try to just run all over us. Those guys have to clean it up and clean it up fast. So,
yep, absolutely. Absolutely. If
it's
not,
so cool.
It's early, but possibly even a better career. This guy is. He leaves me speechless at times. The way he's covering these receivers like it's nothing, and he's only in his second year, is beyond phenomenal. From Ohio, I didn't like Justin Fields. That's saying a lot. Yeah.
Go the one up. Go the one up. Victor's got a good comment. Yeah.
Victor
says I was right.
Victor, this is my show.
Yeah.
We don't give too many. We already gave him one win tonight.
I'll take the one win.
So, Victor, we see your comment about somebody being right about Surtain over Fields. We will not get to that comment because this is my show and I get to decide what we do and do not do. Fantasy, baby. How's that fantasy game? Yeah, that's what I thought. Got to bring it back down. Right?
40 points below the estimated. 40 points. Aaron Rodgers is dead to me.
And I was without my number one wide receiver and running back. So how's that for you too?
God, Aaron Rodgers is dead to me. What did I draft him?
Oh, goodness. All right, guys. We're going to start wrapping up here. A couple more comments we'll get to real quick. But first, let's just give them a quick idea, especially if you're new to us, haven't been to all of our stuff. Let's do a quick rundown on how else you can join us through an average week. Again, Thursdays throws little things off, but let's go for it.
Hey, guys, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. If you're watching this video, hit that like button, hit that share button for us. Helps us out a ton. And then our other content as well. So you can see the running list here. Of course, like Jason said, this is a condensed week. We won't be doing any shows on Sunday because the Broncos are playing Sunday, but you can expect the same pregame and halftime shows Thursday. And then we'll pick things back up for week 6 there. With the normal flow of our content. So the big thing this week, guys, is the pregame podcast will be live on YouTube tomorrow night following our Bourbon Broncos and OBS show at 7 p.m. Mountain Time is when that starts. So immediately after that, you can check out the postgame podcast. If you can't be there, you can still check it out on all those places. You see the pictures up there. Wherever you listen to your podcast, we're there. But anyway, guys, check us out. Follow us. Tell your Broncos fans, friends about us. And we're going to be here no matter what. So thanks, guys.
Absolutely. Go ahead and start posting your last final comments and thoughts, guys. We're going to cruise through the last bit of it as we wrap up. Should have been up 2 scores with the ball coming back. Yeah, could have, should have, would have, but hey, on a Thursday, right? What can you do at this point? Not sure if anyone's asked. I would be on the show, Monday and Tuesday show with you guys. I'll throw that one to him.
Yeah, we'll look at it.
We'll see what we can do. Darby stays healthy. Yep. He's doing great so far. He's been pretty solid for sure. Absolutely. Again, thanks for joining us tonight, guys. Unfortunately, no Mile High salutes tonight. We did not pick up the win, so we don't give out honors or awards because this ain't no participation trophy show. So last thoughts, wrapping up. Go for it.
Yeah. So first off, Clayton, thanks for all the support and the stars that you've sent tonight. I did see all of those coming in. Sorry we didn't get a chance to call you out like we normally do. Just way too many comments we're trying to go through. And I appreciate everybody who's been tuning in, all your comments. This is what makes these shows so great. Look, final thoughts, Thursday night game. Things are going fast. The team was at it immediately today. I mean, they landed. I don't even know if Hackett slept. He might have slept in the office because, obviously you got to get going immediately for those players who show up at 4 or 5 in the morning to start watching tape and stuff. Right. So get ready for it. It may be an ugly game, but I like where we're at. I'm going to believe in Gore. That's the big one. Remember that these players they're people too, it sucks. And to see that emotion shows that they care, and the injuries and everything behind them. So I know that it's tough for us to remember that there's a person underneath that helmet, but there is. So, stick with these guys. I don't think any of you are out there posting crap or mean stuff on Twitter or whatever towards Gordon. I've seen some of that, and man, let's be supportive. He's a Bronco player. Let's go out there. Let's give him all the love we possibly can and show that we're behind him. When he goes out of that tunnel on Thursday night, man, I would be cheering just as loud as I ever have. So let's get ready for it and let's beat the Colts.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's one of those things. He's got to respond, and I'm excited to see how he responds. Rough game. It's not what we won against the Raiders, especially with the Raiders. Somebody posted earlier.
We'll see him again.
That's five in a row. We've dropped it with them, but hey, we get them at home next time. And so at that point, I think we'll have learned some lessons. We'll be a bit better. Hey, appreciate. I'll take that. Yeah. We'll still hand them out to us, I guess. Appreciate that, Victor. You guys have a nice evening as well. Thank you, as always. Join in for the rest of our content throughout the rest of the week. That being said, as always,
ended on a very strong Go Broncos. Take care, guys. We'll see you later.
Do what I like, yeah, I do what I like, yeah, I do what I like. Sipping goose, sip is right, and I go with the flow, yeah, I go with the flow, yeah, I go with the flow, cause I know I'm the show. In the zone, here I go, in the zone, here I go, in the zone, here I go, yeah, they know I'm a pro.